sometimes we have the opportunity to do something very spontaneously. And so I'd like to talk briefly about something that is just currently sitting with me. And that is that, normally we like to present ourselves to the world like we have it all together. And, we're unfazed by changes that come up, and we're in control, and we're mature, and we're calm. All the things that we like to present to the world. And then there are those moments where, for whatever reason, the conditions come together and we're feeling quite vulnerable. And we get taken to a raw place that is so alive that sometimes it's hard to stay with it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So recently this happened to me. And the thing that I've been thinking about it is that on one hand, it can take us to a memory of a specific incident, or it can take us to a memory of just a feeling that we do not want to feel. We do not want to have anything to do with it. And what's the most obvious impulse? Well, there can be fight or flight. Some people are more comfortable with anger. Some people are more comfortable with withdrawing and leaving. I tend to be the angry person when those situations happen. And so what I've been noticing is that, I heard Pema Chodron say this one time, that she experienced a time where she was just sitting with something so raw, so vulnerable, and that she was just staying with it, which is something that we can't often do, right? That's the last thing we want to do, is to actually give our attention to whatever that threat. It seems like a threat, doesn't it? Like, I will be annihilated if I go to this feeling. And yet I'm convinced that that's the only way to heal those spots. And so I thought, especially in the light of the election and the things that are going on, because I've seen that so many people have been plugged deeply about the different situations that are happening post-election and what is brought up for them. And I think this is an incredibly rich opportunity for each one of us to look inside and see, what is it I don't want to experience? What is it about this situation that's reminding me of something? What is that thing? What is that feeling? And, it sounds so simple when we're talking about it now, but in the moment it's almost impossible to just open to it, just completely come to it with courage, with gentleness, with compassion. So this is my offering for today, that it's just an invitation, that whenever we find ourselves in those moments where the last thing we want to do is to be with ourselves, the most important thing we can do is actually to learn that kind of compassion, to turn our compassionate gaze inside and actually sit with ourselves. So many of the world's problems could be avoided if we did that. Otherwise, we end up blaming, railing, reacting, and then cleaning up the mess afterwards. So that's what I wanted to share.